kung fu.
Show me.
I'm the Martial Arts Film Freak, and I watched Sakra.
中朝江山岌岌可危，
馬副幫主尋晚被家人所害，有人指證係你做嘅，我一定會查明真相。
Sakra is a 2023 fantasy martial arts film directed by Kam Kai and Donnie Yen. The movie stars Donnie Yen as well as Yuchi Chen, Eddie Chung, Kara Hui, Yu Wu is just something about so simple, but for some reason it just always confuses me to say Yu Wu. Yu Wu, great guy, I love his movies, love him and stuff, as well as I say electric. It's just good to see him. I like seeing the guy. Yuen Chengyan. I like that guy. In Sakra, Donnie Yen plays a highly respected martial arts master who is framed for murder. So he sort of goes on the run and really just doesn't even look to clear his own name. He just kind of wants to discover his origin because he's an orphan. Meanwhile, you just have a bunch of people who are pretty confident this guy murdered some people and they want to find him. And then, of course, you actually have the people who most likely framed him in the background, ruining his life. Sakra was adapted from a Chinese novel called Demi-Gods and Semi-Devils by Jin Yong, which that's just according to IMDb. I think it also said something at the beginning of the movie. And as much as I did enjoy this movie, I do hope that the book is a bit easier to follow. This movie's not confusing. It doesn't end giving you a lot of satisfying answers. I'm seriously sitting here just thinking, because as much as I have been sitting on this movie for over 24 hours now, I don't have like a good, just cohesive thought on the plot of this movie, because I don't know if like there is a very strong plot to go off of. At least in the movie. I haven't read the book. But like, of the three parties, no one, I don't know, the bad guys have a plan, but Donnie Yen is just kind of wandering with somebody he found. He finds a thief, they become good friends, maybe a bit more than good friends. You have the people who are like kind of hunting him down for, the crime they believe he committed. They're not even really hunting him. They really kind of just gathered and talked about it and waited for him to show up. And then you have the bad guys who I don't know if I fully understand their plan. I think they just hate him and they just want to ruin his life. That's all I got. There is one funny part at the beginning, after he is framed for murder. This is not a spoiler, this is the beginning of the movie. Donnie Yen goes to his adoptive parents' house. They're dead, he finds them dead. And then somebody discovers Donnie Yen like over their bodies, like crying. And they're like, I saw him with the bodies, he murdered those people. So now he's framed for that murder. And then he goes to see this old abbot, this monk. And then again, guy's dead and he's seen hovering over the body, freaking out. So somebody sees him there and is like, I saw him with the body, he did it, he's the murderer. And you gotta stop finding bodies, dude. You gotta stop. It's like that Phineas and Ferb thing.
Wow, if I had a nickel for every time I was doomed by a puppet, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
While I did not get a good cohesive story from the movie, the one sort of message I did feel, and I don't know if the movie did this intentionally, I don't know if this is a major part of the book, the heroes, the other people who, the other good guys, I should say, who believe Donnie Yen committed this crime, committed these murders, it does this really nice, and I say nice, I guess it could be poignant, synonyms, other words I could use for this, It just shows these people who may have this good intent, may feel that they are doing something righteous, but in doing so, their commitment, their execution seems so rooted in hatred and evil. And it really hit me. There's a few characters that it really is on them. Like, they kind of are the driving force behind this. Like, they're the ones who, they maybe don't want justice. They want revenge. And in that quest for vengeance, they're kind of turning a dark path. They don't see it. They see themselves in the right. They want to bring this murderer to justice. And in doing so, they are coming across as a couple really evil bastards. And so I really got that nice sense of you know, these, it's the classic, I guess, thing of just not of a villain not knowing they're the villain, but that just really shows how easily that can turn. It just so easily how somebody can go from being righteous, being right, being the sense of good, and they're just going about it so wrongly, so despicably, absolutely downright evil. I just thought that was a very nice touch with the characters. Donnie Yen does give a lovely performance in this. He is a little bit stone-faced at times, but looking at his performance a bit closer, because I give a couple scenes some rewatches, even though it's kind of weird, he does some really good eye acting. His face seems a little bit stone-faced at times, but if you really just pay attention to his eyes, he is doing so much with just his eyes. It is very, very good. This movie looks very good. It is acted actually very well. My only qualm being there is that the story does not feel really strongly structured for me. But let's get away from the story and let's start talking about some action, because I gotta say, this was some entertaining action in something that I don't think I've seen in a long time. I don't know how vocal I have been about my care for WuXia. WuXia being that fantasy aspect of martial arts cinema, and this movie is heavy WuXia. It is based on a WuXia novel. They lean into it very strongly. And in the past, I have not been a big WuXia fan. My first movie that really sort of showed me WuXia was Butterfly and Sword. That's not a good starting point, because it's WuXia, it is fantasy, it is nuts, it is bonkers, and if you're not ready for that, in which I was not at my age, you're not gonna like it. You need to find something like maybe a Crouching Tiger or a Hero, maybe even Fearless in a way. There's probably some other better movies in there, but you need to find something more palatable to adjust and introduce you to WuXia. I jumped headfirst in. I did not, sometimes still do not, have a great relationship with WuXia. That being said, this was awesome. This movie was a wonderful blend of hard-hitting, glorious choreography and awesome, fantastical elements. And I know that Kenji Tanigaki was one of the action directors on this, and of course Donnie Yen is going to have a lot of say in that. Kenji is a longtime Donnie Yen collaborator, and they brought it. You of course get a little bit of that wire work, people flying around and stuff, but then you get that grounded choreography at times, and that grounded choreography will perfectly blend into somebody having freaking superpowers. You got one dude can just conjure fire with his hands, and he's fighting with freaking fireball hands. You got Donnie Yen just has the force. He's like pushing people, looking like an airbender, but then he can like pull them back, and he's using his powers with his martial arts. It looks beautiful. It looks devastating. The special effects are very, very good. They're not, the best, like, they're not Avatar, they're not Star Wars or some Marvel movies. Well, they might be some Marvel movies, the way those have been going recently. But it looks really good, and they perfectly blended the natural aspects of Donnie's martial arts and other people's martial arts with the WuXia fantasy mystical aspects of the story and the action. There is one fight scene literally halfway through this movie that, honestly, this movie could have ended right there and been a cliffhanger saying, come back for part 2. And I would have been fully satisfied. It was dope. In this scene, essentially, not spoiling anything, it's Donnie versus all the heroes. It's all those people I talked about who, believe Donnie is responsible for these murders. And it's a bunch of gangs and people and people who are considered legends and heroes in their own right. And Donnie just pretty much says, look, I'm willing to accept my fate, but I'm not just gonna, I'm not just gonna lay down for you. You gotta take it. And they come at him. 50, 60, 80, 100 people pretty much. And he takes them all on with his martial arts, with his powers, the mystical aspects. Incredible. The movie, seriously, it's so good, could have ended there. Could have been a cliffhanger, could have said watch part 2, and I would have been completely fine with it. The movie would have been short. It was only about an hour in. It's a 2-hour movie. But it was that good. It could have been the finale of the film. In fact, it might have been stronger than the finale of the film. This may be the new... I was going to say this may be the new entry point, I would say, for some people to get into WuXia, but it's beyond just people flying around and stuff, and it is introducing the powers and everything, people you being firebenders and airbenders and stuff, so maybe not, but it was a lot of fun. It was good. It was good for me, someone who's not super into WuXia. I had a really good time with the action here. I am going to wrap this up. I am going to say Sakra is... Oh, God. I'm going to give Sakra 3.5... I like to throw in my little things here, and I can't even think of what it should be. I don't even know. 3.5 weird Mission Impossible masks out of 5. There's a character who is a thief, and she can disguise her face as somebody, and then she can just peel it off like it's a freaking Mission Impossible mask. I think they maybe did the same thing in a Game of Thrones thing. 3.5 out of 5 for Sakra. It's a good time. It's not great, I don't think. I had my problems with the story. I really did. I struggled a good amount with it. But all in all, I did have a really good time. I would recommend this to people. Check it out when it is available. I mean, I rented it on Apple, whatever. It's available to rent. It's available on VOD to check out. So if you are interested, I do recommend Sakra. If it's for you. Like I said, WuXia, not for everybody. This may not be a great entry point, but I think it's a fun time. But tell me what you thought of Sakra in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Facebook, where there's a Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page. Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak. Tristan_Glover on the Twitter. Martial Arts Film Freak on TikTok. Yes, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.